Hi, and welcome to the next in our practical simulator sessions. Now this is the second video in our improving your striking section, and today I want to look particularly at speed. Now when you're ringing, there are several different speeds that you'll end up ringing. You'll ring faster when you're coming down to the front, you'll ring slower when you're going out to the back, and of course you then have to make the speed change when you get to the back or you get to the front to either maintain your position there or to change again as you're dodging. So what I want to do is to create an exercise that will allow somebody who's struggling with getting these speed changes to practice this by hunting to each of the positions. So as a way of explaining this, to say that if you're leading, the next thing you do is you make seconds, the next thing you do is make thirds, the next thing you do is go and make fourths, then fifths, then sixths. So you'll get the ability to change your speed depending on the amount of places between you and the front or the back that you're ringing to. Now, I may have made that sound a bit complicated. It isn't, and when I show you on a diagram you'll see exactly what I mean. Now we're going to have to create the notation for this, so we're going to go to the computer and work out what the notation should be. We'll then create the notation within Virtual Belfry, create our new exercise, and then we can come back here and actually ring it and see how we get on. So that's the plan. I've got myself a cup of coffee, so let's head off to the computer screen and work out what the notation we need, and let's get Virtual Belfry set up so that we can practice our speed changes whenever we like. Okay, so here we are in Virtual Belfry. We have 6 ropes. We're doing a minor method or a minor exercise, but if we look at the minor exercises, these are the ones we've got in here now, but none of these are actually doing what we want to do with our speed exercise. So we're going to create a new exercise within here. So we select minor exercises and new, and we give our exercise a name. I'm going to call it MegaHunt. So we're going to create MegaHunt Minor, but we have to actually tell the simulator what we want to do, so we have to create the notation for the exercise that we are creating now. Now you can sit down and do this on paper, and that's been very often the normal way, but what I like to do is to use Excel. Now I've set up this spreadsheet which allows me to put in all the rows as I need them, and it gives me some information which makes the notation quite easy to do. And what I'll do is I'll actually post a link to where you can download this so you can actually have it and play with it as you know. It may help you at some time. So we're looking particularly at the 4th place bell. We said we're going to do it for bell number 4, which is what I've selected. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the 4th place bell to hunt down to the front. It's going to lead twice, and then it's going to head off to 5th place, where it's going to do 2 blows in 5th place, and then it's going to make its way back to the front again. It's then going to go all the way up to the back, 2 blows at the back, all the way back to lead again. And now it's led, it's going to start in 2nd place. Oops. Back to lead. It's going to go to 3rd place. Back to lead. And then go back to the start, which will be in 4th place. So you can see that's the pattern that we want to achieve, so that when we're actually ringing this, we're ringing from fourth place into lead, and what we don't want to do is have an overshoot of speed there. So we want to be able to recognise that we're coming to lead, slow down at that point, so we do our next lead blow. Then we head off to fourth place. We have to stop here. We don't want to overshoot. We don't want to get into too much rhythm. Then obviously that's in fifth place, then out to sixth place. So that's a complete hunt to the back and back to the front. So we can see the line that we're trying to produce. We now have to sort out the other bells. Now, where possible in this particular exercise, what I want to do is to keep the bells in their normal place. So we can say that sixth place, bell number 6 will be in sixth place, bell number 5 will stay in fifth place, bell number 4 will have swapped with 3, and then we'll be in third place, which means that initially we'll have 1 and 2. 1 will be there, but 2 has to move to here. 1 will have to move to there, which means 2 will be there. 1 goes back into the lead as soon as it can and will lead until the next time that the bell number 4 arrives at the front. So these will be second place, and these will be back into second place. And you can see that there are some colours appearing. The reason for those will become clear shortly. What I'll now do is just fill the rest of these out quickly, and then we can come back and look at how we can use this to do the notation. Right, so we've got all of our grid now in place. Now the colours that I've set up here, with notation, the thing that we're doing is we're looking for the bells that don't change. So here you can see we have an orange square because bell number 2 has run in second place again, so it's immediately following. Now for 6 bells we ignore bell number 1 and 6, but what we'll do for a moment is we'll just write out the notation in here that shows what will be the full notation. So in here the bells that don't change are 2 and 5 and 1 and 6. So we can write in here the notation for this particular row is going to be 1, 2, 5 and 6. The notation for the next row is going to be 1, 3, 5, 6. Like that. Now, the way notation works is if 2 doesn't move, 1 has got nowhere to go. You can't, 1 and 2 can't swap, and it's only the adjacent bells that can swap. Therefore, the way that notation generically works is that we forget about the 1 and 6, which is why in the highlighting on the sheet on here I exclude it if it's in the first or the sixth row. So now if we just take the orange rows, this makes it very simple. One, 2, 3, 5, then we go 2, 3, 5. 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm just looking for the places, not for the bell numbers. It can look a little confusing. So this is third, fourth and fifth place bells don't move. This is fourth and fifth place bells don't move. This is second and fifth. So if we go all the way down the spreadsheet now and fill those out, I'll come back to you in a minute once I've done that. Okay, so we've now got all of our notation in this row here, but we have to put it into the right format. Now you notice here that there are some blue squares. Now these blue squares become important when we come to actually use the simulator to play this particular exercise, to run this exercise, because what happens with the simulator, when it sees rounds, it naturally will stop. So if we just put in this notation, what would happen is 4 would hunt to the front, and then it would get to this point and it would just stop because you've ended up back in rounds. Because usually with a method, the coming back to rounds will actually end the method unless you're going to keep going. So what we have to do within the exercise is we have to tell the simulator that we're going to keep going once, twice, 3, 4 times to actually get to the end. Okay, so we'll make a note and we'll do that in the keep going, which you can see behind here. We'll change that to 4, but I'll show you that in a moment. So how do we convert these numbers to the notation? Well, all we have to do is to put a dot in between them. And the easiest way to do this is to select all of those numbers, copy them, and if we then get a notepad, we can paste them in. So we've now got all of our rows, and all we're going to do is quickly flip down and put a dot for each of them. We simply turn off word wrap. We now have here the notation that we need to put into Virtual Belfry. So if we now select it all, copy it, and I don't need that anymore, minimize that, we can now paste that notation into the notation line here. Click OK. We now have MegaHunt here as a new exercise, and if we click choose, that will set our current exercise in the simulator to MegaHunt Minor here. And now the moment of truth will be to click the generate button and see what happens. Now, if you remember, I said we have to keep going 4 times to actually get all the way through. So if we now click generate, I've made a mistake. You can see here that Virtual Belfry has gone into a loop. It's generated 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 lines. So I've actually made a mistake here in my notation. So I need to sort that out. So I'm just going to pause the video now, and then I'll go and sort that out, and I'll back to you in a second. Right, I've gone through and found out where I made the mistake, and it was very simple. I'd actually been counting bell numbers here, so instead of putting 4, 5 for 4th place and 5th place bells stay the same, I'd actually put 3, 5, looking at the numbers of the bells, and in the one below I put in 235, looking at the numbers of the bell instead of 345 for the places. So it just shows how important it is that you use the places and not the bell numbers. So if we just go back into our notation, which is our exercise list, and we can go in and just edit what we've already done. Our first changes are, that should be 25 and then 45 and then 345, and you also need 2, 3, 4, 5 for the last change at the end. We needed one more change at the end. To complete, click OK. And we now choose that one. Hopefully now, if we click generate, we now get what we should do, which is the fourth bell hunting down to the front, up to 5th place, down to the front, up to 6th place, down to the front, make seconds, make thirds, and then we come back and we finish at this point. So that's what we want to do. Now, I did mention about the keep going. If we take the keep going off and just generate, all we get is the return to the first time that we get back into rounds again. If we select keep going once and generate, we find that the next time we get rounds is here. So we just end up going down our exercise until we have got the fourth time we end up with rounds, and that in fact completes. So there we have the notation all set up. We can just, whilst in the simulator, we can just click go and actually listen to it.
Next time. Stand.
Okay, so you can see there that the simulator is now running the notation that we want. So let's take this back out to the dumbbell and let's give it a try. Right, so we've got the MegaHunt Minor exercise installed into our simulator. I'm selected as bell number 4. I've got keep going 4 times so that we get right the way through the exercise. So I suppose there's really nothing to do now but to try ringing it. So let's give it a go.
Go. Next time.
Now go all the way up to the back. Now remember, we're making seconds. Okay, so we got to the end. If we now go and have a quick look at the results, and if we look at the blue line display where I am, we can see that I started off, hunted down to the front, out into 5th place, out into 6th place. I then make seconds. A bit of a mistake here, something I'll have to work on. And then we finished back at 4th place. If we look at our striking, we can then see where we were with mean and standard deviation, and of course we get the recording of when we ran it and that we can compare with the next time. So there you have it, a relatively simple exercise all set up and running. I hope that's been useful. A big shout out at this point to Doug Nichols, who wrote Virtual Belfry. He is my guru when it comes to notation, so any problems and issues that I have, I get in touch with Doug and he helps me out usually within a few hours. So thanks very much, Doug, for your assistance. If you've got any comments, please put them below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. We've got more in this series coming, both in striking and the general practical simulator sessions. So I hope this has been of use, and I look forward to seeing you soon.